I'm with the Rolla wrestling coach here, and he has some good news to share about the wrestling program and some of the wrestlers that he has. And, go ahead, coach. And
Sure. We're excited. The National Wrestling Coaches Association, the NWCA, reached out to us and announced that we had 16 All-American scholars, and we had 2 select for the NWCA, tied with the United States Marine Corps Leadership and Character All-American Award. Since there's so many, I'm going to have to kind of read them off here. But as far as the academic All-Americans, we had Maya Birkin, Ethan Crouch, Renee Dobry, Lauren Eli, Hayden Fain, Ryan Garthoffner, Taylor Heimball, Kennedy Kearse, Molly Kell, Ella Poolman, Chance Mickham, Nathan Mickham, Hannah O'Connor, Eden Potter, Nathan Pulliam, and Gracie Skiles. That's phenomenal to have 16 kids selected as an All-American to the NWCA. And then our 2 Leadership and Character All-American Award winners, tied with the NWCA and the United States Marine Corps, was Maya Birkin and Wyatt Sowers. That's phenomenal to have that many kids selected, for not only just character and leadership, but that's exactly what we stand for in our reps. The R stands for relationships, E for education, which is a huge part. This demonstrates exactly what our program and our goals were. Our goals are to be reps, and the kids did a phenomenal job of that. I'm very proud of them. And we had several other kids that just missed this award on their GPA. So, we're excited and continuing to build.
now, wrestling is it's a individual sport, but it's also a team sport where it's one of the few where individually they work as a team to kind of combine for the win overall. It's similar to golf where you don't really have a teammate helping you directly. So kind of how does that help prepare them for school for the future, whether they're going to be wrestling in college or going military, working, things like that?
Sure. We have created a legacy book, and so our kids write down some of their thoughts and some of their things and what's their legacy to the program. And when alumni come back, that's exactly what they talk about is what wrestling gave them. And so wrestling is so unique in that way where you can succeed on the mat. You can go undefeated personally and be on a unsuccessful team, so to say, in the winning or losing department, or vice versa. You could lose every match in your high school career, but you could be on a state championship team if your team is that good. And that's the beauty of it. But when you're on that mat, yes, exactly what you said. You are isolated. You're on your own. You can't blame the quarterback for not throwing you the ball, or the point guard for not getting you the ball inside of the post, or there's so many different things. The pitcher walking everybody like you don't have that excuse. It's you and another human, and you get to impose your will on them. And that's the beauty of the sport. I mean, you learn through that, and you learn how to fail. And that's a great thing that sports teach you, success through failure. And so you got to learn what you need to overcome and how to improve. And so that's the beauty of the teamwork side, though, is I truly believe that this sport, more than others, and all of them have a different aspect. Every sport does. And I've coached a variety of sports, and so I understand that on multiple levels. But, this sport teaches you how close you can be to a teammate when they're kind of in that grind with you, and they're seeing that day in and that daily struggle that you're having, and they're helping you as a teammate overcome your weaknesses and make your weaknesses your strength.
Now, aside from Rolla, you also have, you help out and you coach other teams. Can you, talk about them a little bit?
Sure. Last summer I was fortunate enough to work with the United States Under-15 team. We went over the World Championships in Budapest. It was a phenomenal experience. I learned a great deal. Coach Mayab is the United States Development Director there on the Greco-Roman side, and I got to work hand in hand with him. He's from Staley High School. And so here in Kansas City. And so, I've gotten to work with that. I'm also the Missouri Wrestling Association president. And so I've gotten to work, obviously, with all the coaches in the state. Both of those connection pieces, improving, from high levels of certificate through United States Wrestling, I've had several great connections to continue to learn and continue to grow, which ties you in with kids all over the country, in and out of the country. So I've been very fortunate and lucky in that department.
Now, something else I've seen with wrestling is it's a great show of sportsmanship. You may have a star, wrestler, and they're helping a younger kid in an exhibition match to give them experience. What have you dealt with in situations like that?
Sure, it's the greatest thing in the world. I think, and when you see before every match they shake hands, and after every match they shake hands. That's part of the protocol, part of the procedure. And that's a beautiful thing, because when you shake hands, and I talk to my kids all the time, when you shake hands with your opponent, you're not just shaking hands to shake hands, but actually you're showing a sign of respect that, hey, you've stepped on the mat, you're willing to, put yourself out on the line and see what you've got and challenge yourself. And then at the end of the match, whether you win or lose, it's the same thing. You're showing the other person respect that they got on the mat, they gave their best effort, and hopefully they gave you everything that they had, and you're at the same time shaking their hand, telling them that, hey, I gave you everything I had. And so it's a great thing, and it teaches everyone a great deal.
Now, with what's going on right now and kind of plans on the summer on hold, do you have an idea of, picking up in the fall again, or maybe trying for summer, or is there kind of plans with USA Wrestling, or?
So the United States, USA Wrestling just put out their protocol, and there's steps and there's procedures on this coming back into sport. I've also been on several webinars on the proper way to come back to sport. And so I'm just continuing to learn right now. That's basically what we've told the kids. I mean, our rooms are shut down, obviously. And so, and through MISHA guidelines, I can't run a practice or anything like that. And I've been on some webcasts and some different things with some kids. But I still have to follow MISHA guidelines, because we are still in school. And so we are not I'm not allowed to have contact with kids working out wrestling-wise right now. And so, just following the correct procedures and continuing to learn and continuing to grow. I've talked with coaches all over the country. Every day I'm doing webinars and studying and going to other people's practices they can't have. I can jump in there and I can learn. And that's what I'm continuing to do right now, is just, try to become a better coach. And how do we coach kids? And relationships are our number one thing, and our goals and that reps. And I think at the same time, I'm also showing the P part of reps, that passion part, just by coming in and just continuing to go and loving the sport and learning the sport, at a different level. So it's definitely been a different task with this COVID, just learning and growing. But, the number one thing right now is to keep everybody safe. Keep everybody healthy and happy, and that's that's where we need to be. We all want to be on the mats, and we all want to be wrestling, and there's nothing more than I would love to be working with some other teams and some other guys and coaches doing those things, person to person. But unfortunately, that's not where we're at right now, and that's not the best case. So we're doing it online, just like I'm doing this right here. We're continuing to learn and work and grow through a different resource.
Now, speaking of online, some teams have gotten together with their own kids and other kids, and I've seen soccer teams and basketball teams where they've done camps and practices, virtually, where they demonstrate the skill, or they'd have them with, their child or something like that, and, they're reaching out to many more people than just a room full of kids. Is that something in the future that, after all this is over, maybe that, you'd like to implement or work with other programs or kids to help just, spread the knowledge a little bit?
Sure, and that's what I'm doing right now. Those things I'm doing right now, I'm working with other teams and, throughout the country, and I'm talking with different coaches and doing things like this, and we're explaining drills. I'm in a wrestling mat right here, actually. And so, I can show and I can demonstrate and do those things, but right now I have to stay inside MISHA guidelines. And that means that I can't be doing those things with my team right now. I can do conditioning pieces. I can have them, work out and do conditioning but I cannot be instructing any kind of wrestling with my personal team right now in Missouri. So, like I said, I got to follow guidelines, and and follow the rules. But at the same point in time, am I getting on with other teams in other states and working with kids one-on-one? As far as state kids, the kids that I've met throughout USA Wrestling and coaches throughout USA Wrestling, yes, I'm working with them daily. So, it's just, it's a process.
Now, roughly, like, what's the range of like kids that you work with? Like, how far from a country, or like, where are some of the kids from?
Sure. I've literally all over the country, from California to New York, down in Texas, up to Minnesota. We've got kids. I've got a kid actually overseas right now that has gotten a hold of me and touched base with me, and that was just through a connection while I went through the show. Got a hold of me, and so the age range. Primarily, those guys are freshman, sophomore in high school. They're the cadet level, about 14 to 16 years old, 14, 15. And then, but I go as low as, my dog's 6, and so I work with youth clubs as well, all the way down. So I've got college kids. They come in, and I work with college kids as well in a quote-unquote normal time. Our room right now, on an open mat night when we could open the facility up, I mean, we would have anywhere from a 5-year-old all the way up to college kids. It just kind of depends on, the night and what's going on. So kind of a wide range. I know that's hard to explain. And at the same time right now, that's a big thing that we're doing is studying the athlete development model put out by USA Wrestling. Last week I was on a webinar and I learned quite a bit about the Canadian development model and their procedures with wrestling. And so just continuing to learn and continuing to grow at what age they need to be learning what, and developmentally where do the kids need to be.
Now, are you seeing?
I'm doing that with my coaches as well. My coaches are studying that as well. My coaches are having meetings. There's nothing against that. So, the coaching staff gets on and we have these webinars. And not only the webinars, but we get on and have our team meetings as well, our coaches meetings as well. So those are things that are going on every week, every day, really.
Yeah. Now, I coach youth basketball and track, and there's different styles of basketball. There's different events in track. Is it similar in wrestling? You may, like, if you have a kid from Europe that you're helping, are they doing kind of a different style, the same wrestling but a different style of it than, like, say you teach here or you go against?
Sure, every kid's different. I mean, that's another beautiful thing about it. Every kid's different. So you go overseas and the Europeans. I mean, they're hitting 5,000 to 6,000 arm spins. And here we're hitting a couple hundred. There's a big difference. They're ripping our arms and our shoulders and elbows off over there, and we're getting there and we're learning. But our style's a little bit different. And the Russians, when you talk to the Russians, they wait for us to do certain things. And so when you talk to coaches or, coaches, you talk to those people and you learn, because everybody's got a little different spin on it. And that's kind of a beautiful thing about it. And that's, you look at like Ben Askren, former Mizzou standout, and he's called Funky Ben because he's got a funky style. And, you look at John Smith, and that's kind of with Michael Jordan's, with The Last Dance coming out, in the wrestling world, everybody's kind of talking about, okay, Michael Jordan changed the game of basketball, and there's several people like John Smith, Oklahoma State's head wrestling coach. He changed wrestling. Everybody was kind of a squared stance until he came along and hit low singles. And then now all of a sudden, because of his kind of bread and butter move, so to say, now everybody's kind of in a staggered stance. And then Ben Askren comes along years later, and he starts creating some crazy, funky styles and moves, and so everybody has to change the style, and it's evolved the sport. And so, the sport changes every day, and, if you're not in it and studying it, you're going to be behind. It's just like everything else,
Now, something that, I work with the youth is, in basketball, teaching about the basics. Is that kind of the key with the younger kids with you guys, that you just teach them the basic moves and things?
Sure, without a doubt. I mean, when you go to the Olympic Training Center, and, one of the first things that you learn in any sport is stance, right? Stance and motion in your stance in every sport. And you go out to the Olympic Training Center, and you're, working with the Olympic athletes, and you watch them, and that's what they're spending a majority of their time on still is stance and motion. There's Wrestling's been around for thousands and thousands of years, and we might say we create a new move, but I highly doubt it. We just might rename it, and that's about it. You're wrestling, and somebody's probably done that move over the last thousands of years. So, but the stance and the motion and that fundamental, just what you said, fundamentals, we work on those every day, and you have to.
Now with the seniors, they got their season in most of them there, and they did very well. I mean, do you have any seniors that you'd like to spotlight or you'd like to talk about that from the season?
They're all great kids. They huge part of our program. And once they leave our program, they become reps. They're representatives of Rolla Wrestling. We've got kids, Eden Potter's going to BYU. This is our first year wrestling. He's going to BYU. I mean, that's outstanding. We've got Dathan Mickham, who's been 4 years in our program, grew up. He was a Rolla Wrestling kid, a Show Me Elite kid. He went through our program, and he medaled this year. Takes fourth place at state, and he's going to West Point. That's phenomenal. Wyatt Sowers, same thing. Kid wrestled for us for 4 years. Varsity letterman did unbelievable things for us. Showed the kid so much work ethic and so much pride in what he did, and just loved. It was just a great teammate. And on top of everything else, he's going in the Marines. Like, it's a perfect fit, and so he's going to go serve our country. And so that's that serving piece. That's that S part of that, reps. You got Lauren and Maya, and they're going to college. They're going to be so successful. They're taking what they learned in the wrestling room and on the mat, and they're going to go and they're going to succeed in life, and that's the ultimate goal. That's what sports do. They teach life through sports. And David Rogers, the kid is brilliant and such a strong human being. Unfortunately, he had an elbow injury and didn't get a finish this season on the mat. He finished it with us, but not, he didn't get to participate in districts and state. He definitely would have been a state guy for us, I think. But he's going to go into computer software. He's going to work for school one day. He's got big goals and big dreams, and that's what he's going to do. We got our four-time All-State kid, Zach Fennell. Works hard every day, and you can't fight his work ethic. You can't. It's unbelievable. I can't say enough about the kid and what he's overcome. To do what he's done, and he's on our wall. He's all over our wall. He's up there, 5 different times. He's a 4-time All-Stater, and had several college offers. And he's going to follow his passion. And he's going to go out and he's going to work. He's doing construction. He's already there. He's already succeeding in life, and that's great. He's going to make a huge difference in our community. He's already talking about jumping in and helping our youth, and that's what we want. We want them to give back. You got Colton Franks, another standout. He's another All-Stater for us. And he's going to go on and play S&T football, college football. He had opportunities to wrestle in college, and you can't say enough about the kids. He's a 3-sport athlete. He's a multi-All-Stater, and he can't say enough about the kid. He comes in, he works hard, he loves sports, he loves learning, he loves just giving his best effort. He's such a good teammate to the kids, and the kids see that, hey, man, he can play all 3 sports and still succeed and be All-State. And now he's getting a college scholarship to go play football and continue doing what he wants to do. And he understood. The great thing about Colton is he understood the difference of each sport and what they value to the other one, and how much wrestling is going to help football, his football career. And he obviously loves football, and that's the route that he chose to go to. But he also he's not the linebacker that he is without learning how to take somebody down all the time. And so, Lauren and Maya and them, and going to college and doing their thing, they're so smart, so they persevered, and they learned a lot about themselves and how to overcome adversity. Maya makes state the first year wrestler, and she makes state. She didn't expect that, but she set a goal, and then by the end of the year, she did expect that, and she did work towards that. And so even our managers did a great job. They worked hard, and Faith's going to go on and do great stuff, and we're proud of her. And like I said, sports teach so much about life, and those are just a few of the seniors, that I'm trying to highlight. And so I don't know. Excited to see what they do, and when they come back, 5 years, 10 years from now, we got several kids that are off, and when they come in the room, first thing they do, I always make them talk to the team, and they come in and, okay, what do they miss about wrestling? What did they get from wrestling? Now that they've been gone from the program for a while, what did the program give them? What's their legacy? We got Coleman Brainerd at SAUE, got Tristan Barr at Maryville, Gage Maxwell just finished his career in Hannibal, I believe. Because in 3 years he went to the national tournament, and then in 3 years he's graduating. I saw him at the Rolla Hospital doing some intern thing earlier this year, and so his plan was to graduate in 3 years, and that's outstanding. And you got guys that went right into the workforce and are doing just some awesome things that I can't say highly enough. And they're it's funny because actually I just got done talking to one of my alumni. And it's like now I'm starting to use them as resources for life issues, when I need something built or when I need something done, back to them and trust them, off that relationship that we built.
Now, I've seen in many sports, including, basketball, wrestling, football, where, everyone from manager to, some of the best players, like Peyton Manning and them, once they're done through a professional career, they're going back to coaching youth in high school, whether they go, they're a great, greatest athlete in the world, or, like I said, they're the manager that's just learning the keys there. Do you have any, people that you've seen over the years that have turned around and, started their own program or joined high school or programs
I
that?
got several kids. Yeah, I got several kids that are out coaching, coaching and doing some great things, and several of the sports that I coached, and, now they're head coaches and, JV coaches, and they're starting youth programs, and they're starting private clubs, and, and I've had several of my alumni come back and apply. We just got our junior high program and had several, come back and ask about that job and apply and try to get in, into the program again. And so, obviously that's what we want. You want that cycle, to come back and to feed in. And like Zach, he's a prime example that we're talking about currently right now, that it's fresh, it's kind of hotbed. He's a recent graduate. He hasn't even walked across the stage yet, and he's already talking about, okay, like I'm ready to get back in and help the youth of Rolla in our wrestling program. And that's a 4-time All-Stater, that's going to be great. It's going to be great for our program and great for the kids. And, he's young and the kids know him and they know of him and they know what he did, his accolades. You got some of these guys are getting ready to graduate from college and they're coming back into Rolla and they're, hey, what opportunities are going to be around? Mason right now is another one. He's at a bank here in town and he comes in and helps every now and then. You got Lloyd and Ryan and, several of those guys that are Rolla graduates that are back, and they're the ones that are helping run our program. So it's great. It's great to see, and that's what we need.
All right, and now your conference, especially the eastern side of the conference, is very strong in the wrestling, from Lebanon, Camdenton, Waynesville, and then even with the addition of West Plains recently of high school wrestling, and they performed very well in conference and this year in districts. Kind of does that help you from compete? Even competing when you're in other parts of the state, because you're in a very strong conference and district most of the time.
Sure, yeah, no, our district is phenomenal. Our district is outstanding. I think we were, out of the top 10 teams, I think we had 6 or 7. We're out of the top 10 teams, we're out of our district. So, when you're starting to look at that in the top 6, I think we had 4 in the top 6 of state within our district. Our conference, obviously, with Lebanon and Waynesville and us, and, we've kind of been the top 3 the last couple of years. And it's always a dogfight, man, when you get in there, and it's great. It's great for the sport. It's great for the community. Like you said, Camdenton and the Springfield schools that jump in. There's always kids, and that's the beauty when it's kind of an independent, individual and team sport. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch kids from every area in our conference excel. And I'm excited. We've got several kids from our conference going on and wrestling in college. That's exciting to see. Gavin Sachs is going to Division I. He's going to North Dakota from Waynesville there. It's phenomenal. You got Christian down in Lebanon. And I mean, the list could go on and on about these kids. And it's awesome to see, and it's fun to be a part of, and it's fun to watch and compete against them. Because you're only as good as your weakest link, and you want your competition to be the best. You got to be the best. There's no way around it. And so, it's fun. To challenge yourself, and that's what we want. We want our conference to be good. We see all four corners of the state. This next year, we're going out of state to a tournament. Looking forward to that. There will be 6 other states there. So, like I said, we continue to raise our bar. And it's fun. Continue to grow. Continue to learn.
Now, something I've seen in a lot of sports too is, you make friends with, like coaching track and cross country. Even when I was in high school, I had friends. I was in Rolla, friends, in Lebanon, things like that. Do you see the same in wrestling, where your wrestlers will make friends with, they keep wrestling certain opponents quite a bit, and they get to know them?
Sure, definitely. And then they train together sometimes. I mean, we got a lot of kids. Grant comes down from Camden. He comes down to Rolla, usually in the summers. He's down here every week. We go to Waynesville. Waynesville kids come down to ours. I know Napoleon went down to Lebanon and Waynesville. I mean, that's a great thing about the wrestling community is we support each other so much. And we try to help every kid along. And so, yeah, you build those relationships. And even as a coach, that's why I said I'm excited about some of these kids signing. And, I get to coach Trevor Christian up in Fargo. And it's exciting to see when he signed that, it was awesome for me to see him sign and continue to pursue his career and his athletic achievement and academics as well. And see Sachs, I've driven that kid to Columbia, up to Mike Ironman several times. He's came in our room and he makes our room better. It's the same thing with Grant. When Grant comes down from Camden, he makes our room better, and we try to make him better. And that makes our competition when we go to tournaments. I mean, Grant and Nathan Mickham wrestled each other 3 times this year. And it was one of those with Grant and I, because he's like, man, I hate wrestling against you. But man, I love coming down and learning from you. And so, and it's the same thing. Like, when we're on the mat, yeah, we're rivals. But as soon as we're off the mat, we're there to get the other one better, help each other out.
All right, and finally, what do you see for Rolla this coming year with younger kids and returning kids for next season?
Sure. We got a lot of returners coming back. Very excited about our returners coming back. I mean, Nate Pulliam, he's 115-1 in high school. He's a 2-time undefeated state champ, 3-time finalist. We're looking at great things for him. So he's excited about that. We've got a ton of, Hannah O'Connor, our first girls All-Stater. She's returning on the girls' side. We've had over 100 kids the last 3 years. I think our numbers are still going to be very good. I don't know if they'll be 100 or not. I think they will be, but we'll see. And every spot's, we're filling. We're filling right back in. We're reloading. And, there's no such thing. If you're developing a program, then there's no down year. Or there's no high year. It's just, we're reloading. And that's where we're at. We've got another good group of 8th graders coming up that'll be freshmen. Our freshmen this last year had an outstanding season. They're going to jump in and fill some roles right away to where hopefully we keep competing and stay in the top 10 again.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot, and I will see you next year during the season. And good luck this summer there, and in the fall and the winter.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.